One thing that a lot of people come to me with is the fact that they cannot control their thinking. They overanalyze stuff, they worry about everything, they're not the sort of person that worries about something when it happens. But you've got to try and get that working in your favour somehow. Like people try and change that. They want to get rid of it. They want to stop overanalyzing. They want to stop saying the worrying. They want to stop saying to themselves that they can't do something, right? Now, obviously, that is the ultimate goal. None of us really want to be talking to ourselves like that. But the thing is, like, that voice is pretty important, because at times we are going to fuck up and we need to be able to tell ourselves, look, I didn't do that very well. Should have done that better. Probably shouldn't have treated that person that way. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. So we need to be able to do that. But the key is to be able to do it and then let ourselves go. You can't just keep bogging yourself down with problems that you've created yourself for the rest of your life. At some point, you've got to agree to let go. You've got to agree that whatever it was from your life, whatever experiences you had that kind of made you start doubting yourself or start looking into yourself and thinking that something's wrong, or that, you've got to keep being better, you've got to keep striving for perfection all the time and everything. Whatever that is, you've got to decide how long you're going to let that voice rule your head and rule your life. Because that's basically what it is, Usually, I see people and they're like, in their life, their situation is not as bad as they're feeling. You can usually find a couple of things, at least, that this person is doing better at than they actually think they are. And when you sort of pull it apart, the amount of people I've had sitting in the chair opposite me to tell me they're stupid, and if I was to say to them, prove it, because you don't seem stupid to me. So, but I don't know, maybe you are outside of here, but you don't seem to be. So just prove to me why you think you're stupid. They got nothing. They really haven't hardly got anything that they could list that makes them stupid. So it's about sort of thinking about what you're telling yourself. And then rather than sort of overanalyzing everything that's bad, start contemplating what you're saying to yourself. Like when you work with someone, for example, it's got like health anxiety, I work with a great guy that, he struggles with this sort of thing. And, poor bloke's checking his heart rate 5-6 times an hour sometimes, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's too much. Doing the checking behaviours is kind of saying to that voice, yes, you've got a point, because I'm going to check this because I believe that might happen. And the problem with doing that all the time is you set yourself in motion in like a feedback loop. So you kind of end up in a situation where you're telling yourself something, you believe in it, you're acting as though it's true, and then eventually it's almost like you're living as though it's true. And sometimes, I mean, not every time, but sometimes that is a voice from the past, or it's a voice from someone else, or it's a voice from experience, or I don't know, a teacher or a parent or sibling or auntie, whoever it is, it don't matter. What matters is that you decide that you're going to learn that in the present, as an adult that you are, you can manage the things that you're saying you can't manage, because you're saying you can't manage them, and then you're not telling yourself why you can't manage them even. If you're gonna be critical of yourself, at least look at why you're being critical of yourself, and look at within that thing that you're being critical of yourself about, is there anything you can do about it? And if there is, what is it? Get it, the smallest possible thing you can. Doesn't matter how small it is. All these things where it's like dream big, have big goals, fuck all that, because for a lot of people that doesn't work, and that's why they say, well, I tried this self-help book and it was like, you dream big, only have one goal, focus on that, because otherwise it takes you away from everything else if you've got more than one goal. But I think, okay, well, good luck to you if you can do that. But a lot of people can't. You have to sort of get your ultimate goal if you want, but then you break that down into reasonable chunks that you can actually manage. And then when you've got a chunk you think you can manage, you break that down to the point where you then actually have somewhere to start. And once you've got somewhere to start, you'll feel a lot better, because then you have to learn that if you're on side and if you're looking after yourself, and you're reasoning with yourself rather than just letting this judging, critical voice batter you every day, but you actually start to contemplate why that is happening, and has it got a point? And if it hasn't got a point, then ignore it. And if it has got a point, then fucking find out why, do something about it. It's much better than sitting there feeling like a victim of your own mind. So overthinking, overanalyzing, worrying, and all that, it's not something you can just get rid of. I'm not saying that you can't live without it, but I mean, living without worry would be pretty dangerous, really. You've got to be worried about some things, otherwise you're stupid. You know, you need to worry. But it's managing the worry. It's working out if there's something you can do about the worry, because the worry might be telling you something important. It might be telling you that there's something you're missing that you need to look at. And, you know, there are theorists from Carl Jung to Jordan Peterson, you know, that say the same thing, that is sort of like your future self telling you what you need to pay attention to now, you know. And if you don't listen to it, then you're setting yourself up for a fail, because you're not going to be doing the things that you need to do in order to be the person that you know you can be. And half the time, that's why you're beating yourself up in the first place, you know. So the overthinking, if you use it in the right way, it can be something that sets you free, really. It can be something that really does inspire you to move on and give you an idea of how. But if you're just using it to beat yourself up, ridicule yourself for things that have happened in the past, you know, then how can you expect to feel confident? How can you expect to feel good about yourself? How can you expect to respect yourself? And how can you expect anybody else to, really? You know? So really try that and think about that. So when you've got these thoughts going around in your head, at least challenge them. Give them someone to fucking debate, rather than just letting them batter you like you're on the floor and they're just punching you in the head over and over and over and over and over again. It's no good. You don't want to be doing that. You know, but I have to say that in the work that I do for the last probably like nearly 10 years now, it's one of the most common things that people say. I overthink everything, I overanalyze everything, and I worry about everything, you know. So rather than try and get rid of them, which gets you caught in that loop, like the old, you know, don't think about a white elephant type thing, you know, trying to get rid of the thought usually makes it stronger, and etc, etc. So rather than that, before you try to get to that stage where you're sort of diminishing those thoughts, and everything, try using them. Try using them in your favour. Try thinking of it as an asset. It's an asset that I can be a critical thinker. It's an asset that I can overanalyze things. But I'm not using it as an asset. I'm using it as something to beat myself up with. And that's no good. You wouldn't do that if your mate came to you with a problem. You would try and support them, and you try and give them a reason to not think like that. So why aren't you doing it for yourself? Seriously, you know, that is the number one thing, I think. Well, maybe not the number one thing, but it's definitely up there at the top of things that people come along to try and sort out. And it's also been one of the biggest problems I've had in my life as well to overcome. So a lot of what I'm saying is stuff that I have to like use myself on a daily basis. It's not, even though this is covered in millions of textbooks, it's not really coming from a textbook, it's coming from my heart. All right, so please just have a deep think about what I've said, and see whether or not you can apply it to yourself in any way. All right, cheers.